We'll call this Genesis study number 4. If the gods, whichever, what have you, that were in the Sumerian culture from the past, this Sumerian culture or society or civilization is also known as the Assyrians or this or the Syrians or Assyria. Uh, but they were so powerful that how come after Abraham got established and so on and went to war with the Assyrian nations and with their gods and so on, how come they didn't defeat you know uh, the Elohim that was mentioned there in the New Old Testament? And ironically enough, in the 6th chapter of Genesis, we have uh, some statements about Nephilim. These were supposed to be gods, sons of God, whichever, that came down onto earth and had, relations with the daughters of men. This is some of the stuff that sort of parallels to Sitchin studies about how I guess the guys from Nibiru, the aliens from the guys who came here from UFOs from the planet Nibiru, intermarried with the daughters of men and produced different groups of people. But whether or not they were here to mine gold or not, doesn't make any sense, because the fact is that if you have such an advanced way of doing business with a spaceship, well, you need to resort to pure manual labor? Probably not. But then you have these large pyramids that were built both here and on Mars, as it turns out now. Uh, huge stones. There's a new study that says that these huge stones were not necessarily picked up. They were actually a high quality form of cement. So that's altogether possible. But the gods, if they were that powerful, like I said before, from the Sumerian culture, the Assyrians, and the other different groups were mentioned in the Old Testament, if they were still viable today, where are they? And why aren't they bothering us now? Sure, there's some skeletal remains of huge men. There's one supposed to be somewhere in Egypt, as big as 36 feet in size, in sizes. And then, of course, a lot of other ones that are smaller. So the this is not to negate that there weren't flying saucers, that there weren't flying saucers coming in. It just negates that they were not the ruling force that carried on in Genesis. They carried on somewhere else. I don't mean they didn't carry on Genesis. They carried on in Genesis, but they didn't carry on in the beginning of the book of Genesis. And as far as creation goes, like I said before in the previous tapes, there was no creation. It's just a reformation. Man, as we know it, has been around for who knows how long as God Himself, if you will. One of the things I was shown was that the atom itself is like a seed, and in that atom is a whole universe. And when you look at our existing universe is sort of a large microscopic view in reverse of what might exist in the existing atom. So maybe that gives a little bit different insight as to what was meant by Adam and Eve. Maybe the atom is the subatomic, the atomic particle atom, atom, and that the Eve is just the birth, bringing forth a birth of the atom in terms of its explosion. And once it explodes, I guess, in terms of this sun or other suns and other galaxies, the Big Bang, if you will, or multiple bangs, produce different galaxies, different solar systems. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's many wonderful things to experience. If you want, Habakkuk third chapter, third verse. God came from Tema, the Holy One from Mount Paran. The heavens was full of His glory, and the earth was full of His praise. Well, praise might be a slur on Judah, government. Full of His praise. Praise is past tense for things that have already happened. But I mean, the glory is full of His. The heavens is full of His glory. Is either means honor, which probably doesn't mean that in this case. Probably means power and magnificence. Actually, all these things are actually going on right now simultaneously. If we choose to be aware of it, if we choose to know about it, we choose to be what dimension we want to be in. There's so many wonderful things that you can get into that you'll think to yourself, what was I doing when I was going to church? Being around a bunch of people, all I could do is just blab words out of the Bible and raise their hands up and get overly emotional. The things I'm talking about are an everyday experience. They're part of my my diet, my mental, spiritual diet that I engage in. I engage in while I'm driving the car. I engage in while I'm having coffee. I engage while I do works of various kinds. These things are out there for you to have. There's Jeremiah 33:3. It says, "It's call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." There might well be great and mighty things that you don't know about that are not in the Bible. Gee, God forbid that might happen. Or it might not be in science books, and maybe you could develop a new theorem about something. A new variation on relativity, or plant growth, or healing substances, etc., etc., etc. Sky's the limit. Anyway, just wanted to make that quick note about the fact that the gods of the Sumerian culture, the Assyrians, weren't so powerful as first thought. They basically got their asses kicked by Jehovah and the Elohims that were part of the righteous God, whichever. Well, it's really more of a group. It's not really a one single entity involved.